Good evening, everyone. How are y'all doing? Oh, welcome to Be Healed Web Show. I am your host, Camille R. Perry. That's right. I'm your host for tonight, and I'm so excited about this wonderful these two individuals. They're actually a beautiful union. So I'm just gonna say these folks right here. I have Tamika and Mitch Holmes, and they're going to share with us their organic love story, and I can't wait to talk to them. But before I tell you more about them, I have to remind y'all Be Healed Women's Conference is going to happen. It's going to be in person. So make sure you save the date, August 18th through the 20th. Okay. So save that date, more information to come. As well as if you are watching with us for the very first time, I'm just so happy you're here. Thank you for tuning in. So that means subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're on the YouTube page. If you are watching via Facebook, share it with somebody. Comment like, oh my God, this is the best show ever. We want to hear from you, and definitely get active in the chat. So I'm excited. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest on tonight. So I have the pleasure of actually calling these two wonderful people who are literally an army of one. My cousins, my family, my friend, my favorites. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about Mitch, aka Bud, and Tamika Holmes. They are St. Louis residents. One born and raised, the other one grew up in Alton. But when I tell you they have an organic love story, this two power couple who have locked love and hearts and minds some 20 plus years ago are mother and father to three amazing children. My cousin Aaron, who's currently serving in the United States Navy, and I'm so proud of him for that. To Addison, and I'm going to do this. See, I knew that was going to happen. I got another cousin that I always mess up his name, but I love you, little cuz. We're gonna talk about. I'm gonna bring him in a second, but nevertheless, from basketball, Aiden. No, yeah, Aiden. Yeah, there we go. I knew it was gonna come to me. Aiden, Addison, and Aaron. So Aaron's in the Navy. Aiden is definitely matriculating through junior high, I believe, in high school now. And then, of course, Addison, who is a force to be reckoned with herself. And so I'm happy to have their parents here on tonight. And so we're going to hear about their trials and their triumphs. And I know I'm getting in trouble already. I see my cousins already in the chat, but I want you all to take a listen to this organic love story, because nothing is perfect. No relationship is perfect, no doubt, but you can be perfectly imperfect with one another for God's glory. And I'm excited. So let's bring them in. Tamika and Mitch. Hey, y'all.
Hey,
How are you doing?
Good.
doing good.
Thank
Yes,
you for having us.
of course. Listen, I know Aiden's going to get me. Aiden, I love you, honey. But I just want to take this time and say it's your parents' fault, because they did Aaron, and then I get confused, and then Addison. Okay, but I won't ever again. So I'm gonna do it Aiden, then Aaron, because then that way I could only I'll figure it out. But I'll make sure I won't do it. I'm talking to you, Aiden. So please don't hate me. I love you, baby. But definitely happy to have you all. Thank you for saying yes to the invite. I want to just have you tell some folks your side. I'll do one and the other. You all can tell your story, but how did y'all meet? What happened? Who wants to start that? How did this organic love story take place?
You want me to start?
Go ahead.
Well, it was a Saturday. I just got off of a date, and I
Oh,
was not, I wasn't happy. The day was okay, but I mean, it wasn't what I wanted.
okay, okay.
And so I was actually sitting at home, true story. I said, I will never find the right girl.
Wow.
And 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, around that time frame, my neighbor called. And she
Mm.
was like, hey, I want you to be my friend. I was like, man, this is kind of strange in the back of my mind. I'm thinking, I was like, all right, cool. So I always chased after light brown, short,
Mm.
uh, thick girls.
Well, you better come on, cousin. Want to be with a thick person? As the thick girl,
So when Tamika walked in my door, dark skinned, tall, and skinny, I was like, what is going on?
Slim thick.
I said, the Lord is messing with me. But she sat there for about an hour and talked, and she gave me every phone number she had, her work phone, her cell phone, her
My grandma phone.
beeper number, everything. I got it all.
come on.
So I called her on a Monday. So that was Saturday. I called her on a Monday, asked her if she wanted to go out to dinner. She said, yeah, pretty much history.
So where'd you take her?
We just went to
Outback.
Outback Steakhouse.
Okay.
And then we just drove around. We went to a car dealership, looked at cars, and
Okay.
just did weird stuff that doesn't make sense right now.
It was just so casual. It was just like hanging out with an old friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people were probably like wanting this amazing, like just all these butterflies or whatever. But I felt comfort with him, like just immediately. He wasn't, he didn't expect anything from me, and we had a good time.
Yep. So,
See, that's you can't knock that organic chemistry where it just feels good and it's not pretentious. It doesn't, it's not manufactured. It's organic. Now, I do have to ask: did you order, cousin? Did you order like a thick girl at least? I mean, remember you said you were slim thick. Did you at least? No,
I don't eat steak. So he did that for himself. And I'm sure he thought he was probably impressing me. I don't eat steak. So I don't even recall what I got, but I know I didn't like it.
Oh,
I'm not a fan of Outback.
yeah, I think we've been once since.
Yeah.
well, so I would like to just say Outback is not currently a sponsor of the Be Healed
Okay,
website.
yeah, that's good. That's good.
So we're okay with this. I was like, no, you love Outback, okay? No, I'm just- So, okay. So, Tamika, tell us what is your type when you get the. Well, first of all, how did you get over there? Right.
Okay, right. So I've had 1,000 jobs, but one of my jobs, I met this young lady, and she may be tuned in, and she loves to call herself our love maker, and she chimes in every anniversary on Facebook. So Toby, we thank you. So like he said, that was his neighbor, like childhood friend, and I worked with her. And at the time, I was actually dating a guy. It really was, nothing for real, but I was dating him. And she would just constantly say, man, I know your husband. Now, meanwhile, I'm 19 years old. So I was like, she was like, I know your husband. And so she left the state for a while, had a child. And when she came back, she called me and she was like, come see my baby. I'm like, sure. So I drive on over to Alton and I get there and I see the baby and, we have conversation. And she asked me if I'm still with that guy. And I actually had broken up with him. And so she was like, perfect. You ready to meet your husband? Wow. And I'm like, sure, why not? And that call happens and we just walk across the street and I come over and I meet what became my sister and brother-in-law, and I met Mitchell, and it ended up being just him and I talking in that room. Meanwhile, there are, 3 other people, and we were just talking. I don't even remember what we talked about, but again, just easy. It was just natural. And we talked, and when it was time for me to walk back across the street, and he was like, can I get your number? I'm like, you can have them all.
So I think that, he tickled your fancy.
He did. Yeah. So
like
that's like preference. I love them bright.
Light
bright. Yeah. So definitely he had that. He's not as tall as I would normally, seek out, but I know, that's not everything. So it wasn't a big deal. If I'm going to weigh height over, personality and all that kind of stuff, that's definitely going to win.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so it was chemistry. Okay, organic chemistry in the conversation. So you meet Saturday, hang out Monday, and been literally hanging ever since. So how long did you all date before you proposed?
That's always the question. I think it's like maybe 16 months. It was something
Yeah,
like that.
little over a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we actually moved in with each other and we lived together for maybe 2 months
Mhm.
before we got married. We were only engaged for 1 week. That's
I'm sorry. What now? Say what now? I'm so confused. What?
1 week we were engaged.
Talk. Look. Hey, unpack that. Come on. Unpack
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Okay, so he really married me so he could get a an increase on his unemployment check.
It's not true. It's all love. All love.
I swear. That was the timing. Okay, so anyways, I just got popped for that one. Okay, so but that he did. I gave him some extra money. Okay, so what happened was, like I said, he bought
Okay.
when he was about to look for a house and everything. He was like, "Oh, come with me." I'm still not thinking really anything. I had my own little apartment, and he's like, "Come with me." Do the house shopping and stuff. And so we go around, and he finds some stuff. He's like, "I want you to make sure you're happy with it too. Make sure you like it." I'm
Okay.
like, "Okay." He says, "You'll be spending time there." And so he ended up, we decided on a place. And then he was like, "Yeah, you're going to move in here with me." So fine. So we move on in and we're there. I said, maybe like 2 months. And I came home from work. Is that what it was? Came home from work. And I've never really been that person to run to the mail, but he just kept on wanting me to look at this envelope. Just give it. I'm like, okay, put it down, put it down. Look at this envelope. So I go ahead and open up the envelope and it's this dirty notebook paper in there. And I'm like, kind of stalker stuff is this? And I read and it says,
Let's make this
let's
house a
make
home.
this house a home. And I'm like,
Oh.
is somebody trying to buy the house? What is this? I'm not, it didn't click. And he's like, will you marry me? You can, yeah, whatever. And
Oh.
so yeah, so we're like so excited. So we call, his parents and tell them. And at that time, my grandmother was very ill, like had like a month, to live, and my mother was there taking care of her. So we zoomed out to St. Peters, Missouri, which is about at that point it was maybe 40 minutes from where we were living, and went so I could show her the ring and let her know his intentions. And so we were just like, okay. So we went, I guess that next day, or that Monday, to get the marriage license. And they said it would be ready for us to pick it up on Thursday. I'm like, cool. So we get married on Thursday. I said, oh, we'll get married. And the lady was like, oh, we won't. There were signs posted saying that they were not doing weddings on that Thursday. I did not ask. I did not know that they only do weddings
Mhm.
on Thursdays.
Oh.
Okay. I thought that meant we could come on Friday. So I requested off work on that Friday, told all of my family and friends that would be able to come and be with us on that Friday. Again, I told you my grandmother gravely ill. My mother, she does a half a day of work, goes home, gets my grandmother ready.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all show up. I had two relatives that were extremely pregnant. Okay.
Mhm.
All this, and it's hot. This is August the 4th. And we show up at the city hall, go in and get our license, and we're sitting there just like this. And the woman says, "So who will be performing your ceremony?" I said, "Whatever judge you got, we ready." She was like, "Well, we don't do weddings on Fridays." I'm like, "What do
Oh.
you mean?" I said, "The sign said you didn't do them on Thursday." I guess that was Thursday the 3rd. And she was like, "Right. So we won't do them again until the 10th." I'm like, "No, no, no, no. My grandma's dying. I got everybody here. We got to get married today." And she's like, "Well, maybe, call your pastor." I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. Okay. So I'm just having a total meltdown. And he just sitting there just like this. Like, I knew it. I knew it. You should have asked questions. And I'm like, oh, Lord. So we come out and I call my pastor. And they're like, "Oh, he's not here." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what's his cell phone number?" "Oh, he never takes it. It's here." I'm like, "What?"
Oh
So
boy.
calls, I know everybody from Alton knows Elder Reed. So he calls
Yeah.
Elder Reed.
R.I.P.
Couldn't get him. I'm like, what in the world? I seriously had a nervous breakdown. I went from being like the happiest to completely destroyed. And I just started flipping through the phone book. And as I'm flipping through, I get to this page. Some of them, I guess, a sponsored ad. It has like a bold block around it. And
Yeah.
it says Simply Beautiful Wedding Parlor, Las Vegas style weddings, 24 hours a day, your own theme, whatever. I'm like, what? So I called the number, and the woman's like, let me guess, you at the courthouse. They don't do weddings on Fridays. I was like, you are correct. And I'm crying. She's like, how many people you got? I said, oh, it's about 15 of us. Okay, so
about 8.
8? I told her 8.
Yeah,
I told her 8.
Yeah, she charged me more.
But when we got there, it was about 15 people. And so we didn't have enough money between us. We had to borrow some money from Ben Golly. So if Ben is on the line, thank you. Ben gave us the difference so that we could get married. And you can tell the rest about the wedding or whatever. Okay. So, so of course, so like I know, there wasn't really like GPS then, this is 2000. So we asked her, how did we get to you? And she's like, okay, so you're at the courthouse. You got to get to Grand. You get to Grand, you just keep on going. Just keep on rolling. And you're going to eventually get to a street called Merrimack. We ride at South Grand and Merrimack. I'm like, I don't know anything about this. And so we get in the car. All of us load up. We got a caravan and we just rolling to South Grand and Merrimack. And we get there and I'm like, this is the place. It was just like a little storefront, And so we all park and we get in and she like, this is more than 8 people. So it's going to actually cost, whatever. And we like, Ben. And so he had to give us more money. And so we pay or whatever. And this woman pulls out a big, big pickle jar with a big block of ice in it and some red Kool-Aid. And she's like, let me get this to thawing out. She pulled a cake out the freezer. Let me get this to thawing out. And she's like, we just waiting on the pastor. And I'm going to get everything ready. And we just go around. It was just the craziest thing. And so little tiny man shows up. Looks like alcoholic. And I'm like, is this real? And my mama like, oh, Tamika, girl, you be getting into some stuff, I'm just like, yes, ma'am. I'm like, but we got to do this, so everybody's here. So we go ahead and we get up there, and so my little brother-in-law Michael, he shows up. We don't really dress up much, so Michael had outgrown his church shoes. So he had on Nike flip-flops. So Michael already knows when his wedding comes, I am wearing Nike flip-flops. That's fair. Our wedding. My little cousin Bria, who of course is now a grown woman, she was my flower girl. And so we did that, and we get up there, and it's time for us to start exchanging vows. And of course, my husband's name is Mitchell, and this pastor could not do Mitchell. He called him every M name: Marcus, Milton, Michael, everything. So finally, he was like, and he just had to say his whole name. So there's nothing but laughter through the whole thing and just whatever. And so it was done, and we go back, and Ben actually walked down the aisle like a gorilla. Like, it was just like, I don't think anyone thought this was real, but this was our real wedding, And so we go, and I mean, that was the best red velvet cake. I don't even eat cake. The Kool-Aid was the coldest, sweetest Kool-Aid. Everybody still talks about how good this Kool-Aid was. So they gave us a little champagne. We did have us a little exchange of champagne, and then that was it. And so as it was time for us all to leave, we're all going outside, and a bi-state bus is coming, and this little pastor just walks right out, and we all just held our breath. We had to wait until the bus had gone by to see if the man had made it. He had. And then from there, we just waited, I guess, about 3 to 4 weeks. We did not know if this was a real wedding, but our marriage license came in the mail. And we were like, well, all right. It's okay, because I was going to just go ahead and call my pastor, and we was going to do it again. But we really were married. So, yeah.
I love that.
That was our wedding. And then we came home, and everybody's Uncle Sonny, he had bags and bags of fish. And so he came to our house, and he threw us a fish fry.
It was probably eel, just so we're clear.
It was, And so your Aunt Alice had passed.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So her funeral was the next day. So we all are there, having a good time and everything. And of course, your Aunt Lois, who is the family matriarch, does everything. So she goes to the airport to pick up your Aunt Alice. At this time, it's probably to pick up Aunt Claudia. So
I was like, no.
So it's like 8:45 or so. You would think she's just gonna take her to Alton. No, and Claudia wanted a plate. So she brings her to our house at like 9:30 or so, and pretty much everyone is gone. I think maybe Mr. Holmes was there. Like nobody was there. And so we fixed her a plate or whatever. She's sitting there, and it was it a
James Bond.
it was a James Bond movie on TV. And
That
she
Amy
was
Love.
there, and she wanted to watch the
Yeah.
whole movie.
Yeah,
I
that's
go
Amy.
take my shower. I'm ready to consummate. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm just laying in the middle of
I'm
the
ready
bed.
to
Get your
consummate.
auntie out of here. Get both of your aunties out of here. I'm like, this is how it's gonna be. This is crazy. And she waited and finished that movie and edged away, and they left. And the next day, our first official man and wife was a funeral. So yeah, that was
Well, I totally agree with Trish. She said you got broken in real fast with the family.
yeah.
Mhm.
I did.
That's like a crash course to the
Yeah.
Holmes way. Like,
Indeed.
I love my Uncle Sonny, and if he's watching tonight, I doubt it because he's probably been asleep for the past 6 hours.
Right.
But we don't always know what Uncle Sonny cooking. He say it's fish because it came from the sea. It could be eel. It
I
could be-
always ask whenever I go to his house, I'm like, is this from the grocery store? Because he will give you, I have had what did I eat? Not muskrat.
It was probably muskrat.
Groundhog. I had groundhog.
Oh,
But his barbecue sauce was so good that
yeah,
it's like chicken.
it's all right. You're gonna be a case study one day. Try to tell you. I'm like, who made that? Who brought this? I don't know.
Right.
I'm good. But I love that. But I have to ask Mitch, when did you, or what happened for you to know this is the woman you wanted to spend the rest of your life with?
I got Kleenex.
I would say, well, for starters, I knew she was sent from God. I was like, everything that happened, I knew she was from God. So I'm like, I got to make this work. But everything was so easy. Everything just so comfortable that I knew early, probably within a month or two, that she was the one.
Okay. So you just waited. You said, I'm gonna wait.
He wanted me to mess up.
Do we need to unpack? Do we need to park and unpack that for a second? Because to being fair, like I think there is some truth to that. Where I love this song. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that we as humans, sometimes when things are too good, we think that it cannot be true.
Right.
So then it does cause us to kind of like step back, pace it, like, oh, but could that also be a condition of fear that can lead to mess ups and issues? Or like, is that like maybe more, is it more like self-sabotage when we do that? I mean, your situation, it worked out, but that might not be everybody's.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be a mixture. That definitely could be. I know definitely with us being young, our parents were watching us. So I think if we had been too, just too crazy, somebody would have been stepping in. So I think we were trying to play it safe on all of that as well.
Yeah, that's very fair. Okay, so first of all, I did not know all of this went down because I'm California, y'all out there in Illinois, Missouri area. So I didn't know all of this happened, but thank you for telling the story so vividly because I definitely got a movie in my head.
Oh, yeah. And then we can't even find the video of the wedding because he taped Michael's football game.
That's not what happened.
What happened?
What happened?
I don't know what happened, but
we could have won like that America's Funniest Home Video $50,000 because it was hilarious.
Well, see, that just shows you how good of a man your husband is because he wanted to make sure he captured his little brother's success on the field. So, see, that's good. Shout out to my cousin Michael, wherever he might be. So, let's talk about family dynamics.
Okay.
Marriage is not always something that people aspire to achieve or to experience. I'll start with Tamika, then I'll go with Bud. What made you want to be a wife? And especially a wife to Mitchell Holmes Jr.
Gotcha. So I didn't see that growing up, like,
Mhm.
marriage. I think like my extended family, some of them, they were married, like, and they may be on here. My cousin Sandra and her husband Claudel, like, I would guess
Mhm.
like 50 years. Her sister and her husband, 40 plus years. But in my nucleus, my immediate family, I did not see longevity with marriage. My mother, she was never married. So I was raised in the house with my grandmother, saw two of her husbands, and my mom.
Mhm.
My grandmother's marriages were not at all what I would have wanted to, emulate at all. I didn't want that. And my mom, she never said anything negative about it. Um, but I just knew how our life was compared to other people. And I'm like, if I'm going to have children, I want them to have two parents. I would just love that. I would love to see what that's like. And that's what I love that I am married, because I've got to see that. And
Mhm.
I like still, even though we've been doing this thing now, Aaron will be 21. I will still take pictures if I'm
Mhm.
there and I see Mitchell like just doing that one-on-one type stuff. That just still just stings my heart, because I'm like, it's amazing, that they get to experience what I just dreamed of, having a dad in the house and just doing just normal things. Like, to them, that is just normal. Like Addison, I tell her all the time, I'm like, you were just like the luckiest girl ever. And she just, she doesn't get it. But I know she will at some point, and especially when she meets a friend, maybe like me, the little girl that didn't have it. I think she will totally get, just how lucky she has been. What made me select Mitchell Holmes to be the person I wanted to try that with was because I saw how he interacted with his family.
Mhm.
His sister and brother, they're not just his sister and brother.
Yeah.
I mean, he was definitely the third parent there.
Yeah.
And just the way he interacted with them was just amazing. He made sure that if there was a ride that needed to be made or whatever, he was the one that was going to be there. We did not miss, other than Trisha's college graduation. Sorry about that. We didn't miss anything. For the kids, going to Trisha's volleyball games, basketball games, all that kind of stuff. So I knew that when we had our children, if they became athletic or whatever they would be in, I knew that he would be just as involved, and he has. He does not miss a beat. He works overtime a lot of times, and he will go right from work to those games. If he just cannot make it, he is logged into the team portal and he is watching it and commenting and making sure that I'm looking, because I'm on my phone, not paying attention. So yeah, that's why I knew that he would be a complete partner for me,
Yeah.
and that he would help me to raise some productive kids.
I love that. Oof. Shout out to Mitch. Come on. All right. So now the same question for you, sir.
All right. Well, I grew up with mom and dad, and they had a tremendous relationship. I've seen their ups and downs, and but they always stuck it out. Um, so that's what I wanted, in a relationship.
Yeah.
Um, so for Tamika, knowing Tamika was the one I wanted to be with, was I had peace of mind. I've been in relationships where I was like, I wonder where she at. I wonder if she's doing right. I've never had that thought about Tamika. I just
That's
always
good.
had that peace of mind that she's doing right.
Yeah. She's where she
That
says she's
halo,
She's right.
okay. I can keep doing this halo thing because I'm like Tamika, I seen your post early in the morning. You need to like lower it more. Like this is kind of like okay. Like hold on, I think your halo's over here because but what you just said, Mitch, is so heavy because peace of mind is something that a lot of folks don't have for themselves,
Right.
less even being with a partner. So I think that is awesome. And the fact that that peace of mind coupled with trust, and like you said earlier, you knew that God sent her to you,
Hmm.
and God is very good about giving us what we need, even when we don't think we need it. But because he knows everything, it's just amazing. And so I'm very, very grateful for this. All right. So you all have been married, have the craziest wedding nuptials I've ever seen. Okay. Or heard of. I haven't seen it in my own eyes. So I feel like we're due for a renewal.
Yes, we are for our 25th because I want to wear a white dress.
You can't. It's too late.
But I'm with the same person. Yeah,
I just
I'm
want,
wearing a white dress.
I just want to say that because I want to see what Buzz is gonna say. He like, yeah, but no, you could definitely. I mean, honey, you could wear cocaine white, whatever you want to do. That's your business. You definitely
Yes,
can.
I want to wear
I
it.
will be there. I promise you, I'll be there for this one. Where we're gonna do? Where are we gonna do this one at?
I actually want to do it on the Holmes land. So Mr.
What?
Holmes owns that plot of land right in front of the house because that's where we started. That's our nucleus right there.
Okay, because I was like, out
Yeah.
of all the islands and
That's
countries,
what I was saying. I'm thinking
No,
island
I
and
know. I mean,
beach.
no, we'll go. I mean, we'll do maybe like a honeymoon thing, but I want to get married right there. And I just, we'll have, it decorated or whatever, but I want it right there.
okay, all right. So but let me know when y'all gonna go on the honeymoon because I'll meet y'all in
Bring you
the
over there.
I'm like, I'm like, she dripping. Like, first of all, ma'am. But no, because all of right when you said that, I'm thinking like it's gonna be another fish fry. It's gonna
And
be
it
another
will, but I mean, like I said, but now we can actually afford to go on a honeymoon. So yeah, I'll definitely do some kind of beautiful destination. But that's it. That's the nucleus, and I just think, and I know like the homeless people don't really like to go far and stuff. It's right there. Ain't nobody got a reason that they cannot come. You don't have to dress up. I will be dressed up, but I just want it right there.
so we can wear Nike flip flops and everything and everything.
Absolutely. That might be on the instructions. You have to wear Nike flip flops.
I love it. So you all have been parenting now for 21 years.
Mhm.
What has that journey taught you about yourselves and about your love and about you as I would say like even what's the word legacy carriers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Aaron Michael Holmes. He has definitely taught me for sure the real definition of unconditional love because he has done everything that a child has done or can do. And I like send him things, because we like to share memes and stuff. And there's a meme I'm sure most people have seen where they're like, your childhood was lit if you stole your parents' car. And so I sent that to him one day because he has done everything. He is totally that person that will do it and ask for forgiveness later. And so he has just taught us like definitely how to just, stay on one accord because for a while there we were, with different views of him, like Mitch was just like, he would say that I'm done. But then as soon as the boy's car would break down or something like that, he out there working on it. He doing whatever, he would say it with his mouth, but his actions still, spoke about, what his heart really said. And then everyone that I talked to that had older children, they just kept pouring into us that, oh, he's going to make a turnaround. He's going to make a turnaround. And we're seeing that manifestation happen. He's now, serving the country, learning so much about himself, remembering who he was. I think he had forgotten, just how great he was. When he was in elementary school, like they were making up awards for the boy, like just doing everything. And then when he got to, the end of middle school to high school,
Get it in middle school.
yeah, it was just like, who is this person? Like I would have to like make myself hug him and be like, I love you, because I was mad at him, like a stranger on the street, mad at him, So definitely he has taught me unconditional love, and it's going to definitely help his siblings coming after him because I don't think anybody's going to be able to top him. I'm hoping not. So whatever they do, I'm like, oh, you didn't do like Aaron did, so definitely that. And that just, it made us unite more because I think we were kind of like us against Aaron. So we definitely, but we're so proud of him. And I mean, even through that, he still had the same little sweet whatever, it was just still him. It was just, whatever was rising up in him.
Yeah.
It
That
was
happens.
it was doing its thing. Yeah.
What happens? What about you, Bud? What's your thoughts on that?
She said it all on that one.
You know I'm not gonna let you slide on that one, but go ahead.
Come on, cuz.
No, I mean it's the whole point of the show. Would Oprah let you slide? No.
uh, I don't know. I mean, I always wanted kids. I always wanted three.
Yeah, I only wanted one child. As you've seen the spacing, Aaron is 7 years older than his
You wanted the
siblings.
second one.
I ended up, but for those first 7 years, I only wanted one child. You know, I'm an only child. I have siblings, but I was raised as an only child. So I didn't understand what you do with those other kids.
Mm.
I mean, that's exactly I'm like, what do you do with them? Because, I just had my mom's complete attention. It was just, me and her, boom, boom. I'm like, I got these other two. And I just didn't even know what to do. But then when Aaron got about 6, his little nightly prayer started saying, Lord, please send me a sister. And I'm like,
Oh.
what? And he just kept saying it. And he's like, Mom, you should give me a sister. All my friends at school. And so I told Mitch, I said, how selfish am I? I'm like, we got like a really sweet family. We should have other kids, And so he agreed and he gave me Aiden. And that was just it for me. I was done. He was booby doo. I love my booby doo. So I was good. And Mitchell was supposed to handle his business and make sure that that's all that we had. And he went and had his consultation and said he didn't like the guy's bedside manner.
I didn't like him.
So
I was telling my jokes and he wasn't laughing.
Because you ain't
funny. I'm hilarious. What are you talking about?
He said, I'm hilarious.
So he comes home and I don't know what happened, but we had Addison, okay? But as soon as we had Addison.
We know what happened.
And who did he go to? The same doctor that had a bad bedside manner. Because he got what he wanted. He wanted 3 kids from the time that we dated. He said he wanted 3 kids. So he got what he wanted out of that.
So you got your 3. How have your 3 transformed you?
It's a lot of work. Kids are a lot of work. So, I mean, it keeps you
busy.
It keeps you busy, but it makes you work. It makes you go out and provide for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally being there for them at games or providing clothes and food and all that.
How have you felt challenged in your parenting?
In our parenting,
I think the fact that they have 3 very, well, I'm not going to say very unique personalities. Our first and our last, Aaron and Addison, are very similar.
Yes, they're bookends. Very much so.
Right. So their personalities are so similar, but I think she has that female twist that she is more expressive with what she's going through. Aaron, he would keep it to himself, which then turned into this sneakiness. So she's more vocal and says it, but it's very same. Aiden, he just keeps to himself. Like that actually pleases him to be left alone. And so we worked so hard just trying to get him out the room. We had a family day, 2 weekends ago? So the in-laws came, his parents, his dad and siblings. So they came and Aiden stayed outside with us for the whole 6 hours. And all of us was like, thank you, Aiden. Thank you, Aiden. You normally only see him going to the refrigerator, the dishwasher, and back to his room. And he came, he played Shanghai Rummy with us. I mean, it was just amazing. They just have, it's just those 3 personalities, or 2.5, I should say. 2.5.
2.5. So which do you feel, but I'm gonna ask you to answer as if you're Tamika, and Tamika, you got to answer as if you're Bud, right? Okay. So Bud, which of the children, the 3 children you have, do you think is a direct depiction of your wife?
That would be Addison. No. That would be Addison. That's Addison. She is Addison that doesn't say anything. She doesn't act out. She doesn't.
I'm passive aggressive, and Addison is direct.
Yeah, she does it. She'll do it. That's her role model.
Okay.
Addison is, I mean, Tamika is, how am I doing? Addison is Tamika's role model. Tamika wants to be like
I
Addison.
would, right, really, I would want to be more like Addison because I go around, like I'll just like, like my friendships and or relations with people are much different than Addison. Addison cancel culture, like, and she tells you why she's not dealing with you anymore, and this and this and that. Just the things that she will say, you're like, oh my God, you said that, and like she makes comments about adults in our presence, and I'll be like, Mitchell, she shouldn't be saying that. And then he'd be like, it's the truth. I mean, what can I say? I mean, it's the truth. And because she's just so, what she feels is what she's going to say. And that's how she acts. And I beat around the bush with mine. So I'm always like, man, when I grow up. But then she's my arch nemesis, though, because it's very hard to raise someone that is so already grown up.
You said arch nemesis, by the way.
She is. Oh, we just go. We go. We went today. Like, oh, we go.
Okay. Yeah. So Tamika, which one of your 3 children is most like your husband, Bud?
It would have to be a mixture between Aiden and Aaron, but I would definitely say more of Aiden because Aiden is so helpful. So helpful. He's so thoughtful. I love getting my back rubbed or scratched. And Aiden, even though he comes out the room like twice a day, if he sees me and he is able to, access my back, he's just, just a quick little, and it's just his expression of love. So him and Mitch, I think they have the same love language and they have identified mine. He always, if I get my hair done and he sees me when I come home, Aiden is always, Mom, you look pretty. I love to be affirmed, and he knows that. So yeah, he definitely has that. As far as Aaron, the helping of people, like if Mitch, I mean, I've seen him many times. People on the side of the road or just whatever. People are moving. Our neighbors, if there's things, he is just out there. He will help people, and Aaron will help people and get in trouble, like sneak it out the house because his friend called to say that, he needed a ride, stuff like that. And that's his dad, and so you kind of can't discipline someone for, just that's who they are. Right. Yeah. And you're doing a good thing. You're just breaking the rules. But yeah, definitely.
That's good. I thought when you said that, it made me think all those times my father would tell me, don't let your good be evil spoken of. Right. Sometimes we can yearn to do good, but if it's not done in the proper order or whatever is needed, it can turn into mush real bad.
That's true.
So, but again, we live and we learn. And as Aaron is currently growing in his manhood, while serving our in our armed forces, I'm sure he's learning and seeing all those different things. And so, shout out to all of your children, for Addison being that fearless woman that she is. That is needed, especially someone who knows who they are and what they stand for and be able to articulate it. And then as well as for Aiden being sensitive and aware.
Yeah.
We don't always see that sensitivity and awareness. So that's awesome. I do want to ask you all, how big is faith in your family dynamic?
I know my own personal faith wavered for a while, may still kind of be wavering. And I think that that probably has trickled down through my family. So I try to redirect it with my words. Like, I don't really want them to necessarily know what I'm dealing with myself internally. Like, so with Aaron, I make sure I send him, with him not being here with me, I send him things, just reminding him, just how much power he has and what he says and what he does, and that, it's already in you, just things like that. Reminding him, I'll send him, different scriptures, but I do know that, we are the head in this house. And so it is definitely important. It's just, I had my own little thing for a while. So, yeah.
That's cool. But what about you, sir?
I knew it.
You said you knew it?
Right. She answered the question, didn't she? I'm not a big talker, Camille.
I know, this is what we stretch. We stretch it, because I can actually hear you when you're telling her what to say. You like trying to lead her. I'm like, no, go ahead. You got a microphone too. But yeah, just how has that been? I mean, especially you being the husband, the father. How, with all that you all have experienced, how has faith played a role in you all's life?
Well, like I said, I know she was heaven sent, so that's faith. Um, and just having uh, faith that everything's gonna be okay. So yeah, that the kids will be fine and throughout all their troubles. But just I don't know how to answer the question.
I'll say this. I think that no matter what we're showing, we show them that faith without works, is dead because we put in the work.
Yeah.
Like they never see. I can be real lazy, like as far as like I'm not going to that job or something like that. But other than that, I mean, they know we go to work every day. We go to work. Everything is taken care of. We maintain the house, both interior and exterior. Like we handle our responsibilities, and that is something that they're shown. Do your work. Right now, school is their job. Do your work, and then you will manifest what it is that you're looking for at the end. So I think just in the natural, we show them most definitely what faith and works do.
Absolutely. And the reason why I ask is for anybody that might be wondering, like, oh, why is she prying in that question? Well, because I think sometimes we miss it. And it doesn't and I'm not speaking just regarding the Christian faith, because that's what I'm exposed to and what I grew up and what I believe. But I think in any relationship dynamic, and especially in parenting, faith is a foundational tenet that the children, the home, the husband and wife need. Whatever it is that you believe, you want to make sure that there's a nucleus that is at the core of it all, that is holding everything together. And so I think, for some people it might be faith in family. Some people might say they have faith in, one another. Some people might have faith in God or whatever God of their understanding that they might be going after. But I do believe that it plays a part in how we raise our children, but how we show up in the workplace, how we show up in our marriage, how we show up, even for ourselves. All of that plays a part because it's really a, a, a deep fabric of who we are. God didn't make us to be faithless individuals. Like that's why we have hope, and that's why we aspire to do things, because God has instilled that in us. So I just wanted to share that with anyone who might be asking, like, oh, but also we need to take a look at ourselves, because sometimes people feel that I'm only supposed to feed. Hi, is that Aiden or Addison?
Addison.
Hi, Addison, come on, get your cameo appearance, honey. But I think sometimes people only they limit themselves from a parental standpoint to, I have to feed you, I gotta clothe you. Hey, cousin, I gotta feed you, I gotta clothe you, I have to make sure you have room and board. But it's so much more than that. That there's so much. There's those are the bare necessities that has to be done. Yes, because that's what the law says, for us to feed them, clothe them, and give them room and board, right? That's the law. Otherwise you're considered unfit. But spiritually, so making sure that they have that healthy dynamic, and you and your husband are demonstrating that in your relationship, that healthy dynamic of what love is. And that goes the distance. That's just what I want to say on that piece. Is that all right? I might just want to make sure. But so we're going to be winding down pretty soon. So what are your goals? Let's close out with some goals. Let's do some goals. And what are some of the goals that you guys currently have as this organic love story?
I just want us to be healthy enough to be able to like truly enjoy each other through all the phases, So I want to see us be retired and being able to just pick up and go. I've had the same little thing for years now. I want us to definitely visit all 50 states. We recently went to Jamaica with friends last year, and I'm like, I would like that to become an annual thing now that our kids are older and don't really require, the child care and all that kind of stuff. We can actually begin to really enjoy each other because we really, we went right into parenting. Yeah. We got married August 4th, 2000. Aaron was born August 7th, 2001. So we have been parents really as long as we've been a couple. So just getting to really enjoy each other and just continue to do that and grow. we're considering, like, maybe relocating within the state though, into like maybe a larger home,
California. I like
possibly. Oh, definitely
Oh,
not
Lord.
California. But but just the work that we've been doing, just we just continued growth, but just keep enjoying each other as we do. And I mean, I will say, like, I think we enjoy each other more. I think I enjoy him more now, say within the past 5 years, and I think it's because the kids are more independent,
Right.
that we get to just have
date
fun,
night. Yeah.
right? And we do like just a random. He'll just, he'll text me, take me to dinner tonight, and we don't have to plan like who's gonna do whatever. That means I know on my way home, I stop at Little Caesars, grab a pizza for them, and we're dipping,
Mhm.
and we go out and just do whatever. We have some, they're really family to us now, but we have some couple friends, and
Mhm.
so they all are pretty much empty nesters. We're like the last ones because we're younger than like the Wilsons and stuff.
Iris
I,
Yeah,
Russell.
we're younger than them.
I don't
So
I don't know why you had to lean into the camera and the mic
because
like
I
that.
know she's
Younger.
right there, and so since we're younger than them, our children are younger. So we, they're already empty nesters, and we're not quite there yet, but it's awesome. And I will say that that's like a big thing. If you're going to ask later, maybe, I don't know if it's going to be there, where you
Go
say,
for it.
what do you think people should do as couples? Make sure you get yourself some good couple friends. And I don't mean just hang out friends. I mean couple friends that you are able to cry with, laugh with, pray with, dreamcast with. Like,
Mhm.
you need that. Like, because my husband, he needs his friends. You know what I'm saying? He needs to be around men. I need to be able to be around women.
Mhm.
But we need to, like he says, have that peace of mind. So I have no qualms when he's saying, I'm going out with Charles, I'm going with Denora or whatever. I am comfortable because I
Mhm.
know that those are good men. And
Yeah.
that even if he was to maybe have a little lapse in judgment, they are going to pull him up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need good friends. You cannot do this mess by yourself. You
Yeah.
cannot.
That's good. What about you, Bud? What's some goals and some takeaways or some words of wisdom you can share?
Uh, uh, goals, retirement, and travel. Um, wisdom is compromise. You got to
Mm.
compromise. And it's not going to be 50-50.
Mm-mm.
It's going to be 60-40, 70-30. Sometimes you the
Sometimes.
70, sometimes you the 30, but you got to compromise. Um, and then, you look at us as a situation and look at other marriages, but that might not work for you. You might, it might not work for you.
Mhm.
So, um, you just got to do you. You got to do you. What works best for you?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Um, and what I hear you saying is when you're saying, the compromising, it kind of reminds me of when Chris Rock said, there's no solo player in the relationship band, right? It's somebody might be singing lead, you might be playing the tambourine, but you don't want to be playing the tambourine with your jaws tight. You want to have
Yeah.
the best experience. So it just depends on what role you're playing, and then, like you said, that sometimes the compromising does happen, sometimes in your favor or not the other, but it's for the healthiness of the relationship. Where do you want to see your relationship? And so I just want to thank both of you all for stopping by, and spending some time with Be Heal's audience. Thank you for everyone in the chat. Iris said y'all old too. Just want to make sure.
Mm-mm.
Um, Iris out here throwing shots too.
Mhm.
Um, but I hope people were blessed, entertained, and encouraged by hearing you all. I do think, Tamika, when you mentioned about having healthy couples, having healthy friendships, that matters in so many ways. Getting people who are like minded, like vision, not people who are um, living a different style from you.
Right.
You know, what is that? What is the constitution of your relationship? What is the constitution? And there has to be some similarities. Otherwise, when even though he says you give him peace of mind, But if it's a girlfriend that you ain't really too, he ain't really too fond of, but you want to go hang out with, he might be like, no,
No, exactly. Yeah.
I don't think this is where you should go. And
Right.
so, I think that that's very healthy. So whoever's listening on tonight, thank you all. Shout out to Trish for staying awake. Trish, we know this is way past your curfew.
Yes, it is.
She's probably gonna take tomorrow off, but thank you to each and every person who tuned in on tonight. I am elated and I love y'all. We've been family all of my life because Bud is older than me. Yeah. Gotta do it. But when I saw you, I was like, man, you done got. I was like, what happened? Like, what happened to my young cousin, my young bright cousin? What happened? But we've been family for a long time. But just because we're family doesn't mean we know every part and gotta. Thank you for letting me get a peek inside. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all for that. So we love you. Thank you all for tuning in on tonight. If you have been blessed, again, drop it in the chat, share this, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can definitely go back and see some amazing things and understanding that, again, that yes, Michelle, we agree, it's a real miracle of the love that these two folks have for one another. And I have to read this one because Krista said, thanks for sharing your beautiful love story. She's going to watch the rest tomorrow, so I appreciate that. Stacey has also said it's been excellent dialogue, and so I love all of that. So you all tune in next week because the beat goes on. We're going to have Miss Megan Gray, the celebrity makeup artist extraordinaire. She's going to be sharing the single mom life. She's going to be talking what all has been her triumphs, and yet ensuing victories and vision that she has for her life and her children. So I'm excited to hear from her. So with that being said, you all have a blessed evening. We will see you next time. Holmes family, hang out for a second. We'll say goodnight to our audience, and we will talk to you all same time next week, 7 p.m. Facebook Live and YouTube. Be blessed. Thank you.